everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the signs that you might experience that you have chronic depression. And by chronic depression, I mean persistent depressive disorder, which was formerly known as dysthymia. So I am not a therapist, I am not a psychologist, I am a patient, I am a person who has been diagnosed with this and who is still in therapy for it and who has been for the last 2 years. So let's talk about it. The tricky thing with chronic depression, with persistent depressive disorder, is that the signs can be rather subtle. But now when I look back, they weren't all that subtle. I have to add as well that a lot of people who experience persistent depressive disorder also experience episodes of major depression. So I have major depression on top of the persistent depressive disorder, and then I also have generalized anxiety disorder, but we're going to focus on the persistent depressive disorder. And of course the major depressive episodes are not as subtle, they're very clear, because for me they always meant being suicidal. And you can have persistent depressive disorder and be suicidal. And for me, that was pretty much always the case. But the most of the time, I wasn't acutely suicidal. I just always thought that death would be better than life, and it's not really worth it, because I was just feeling down all the time. And I didn't really understand how there are people who really love life, because life is just so heavy. And that's another thing. Heaviness. So one of the major signs, and I also have to add that I had persistent depressive disorder for over a decade before I got help. So I have been living with it untreated for a very long time, and during that time I've always felt the same. So it was constant. I never got a break. Yes, there were, variances. Sometimes I felt a little better, sometimes I felt worse, sometimes I felt really, really worse because of the major depressive episodes. But my general feeling, my general emotions were always pretty much the same, and they weren't great. So with my therapist, I use a scale from -10 to +10. And my good normal, so a good day for me, is usually a -3. And that's where I was most of the time, if not lower. And if you look at that scale, -10 to +10, -3 is not the worst. And if you're used to never being in the positive area, then you feel like -3, not that bad. You can still do things. And for me, I'd say a major depressive episode starts at like a -8. That's where it gets really, really bad, and where it gets suicidal. But, -3, normal for me, not a big deal. So ask yourself, on that scale, where are you? Are you ever in the positive? Do you ever feel like life is better than it would be not to be alive? And it doesn't mean that you hate life, that you get zero joy out of life. It means that you don't really care for life. And then the heaviness. Everything just feels so fucking heavy all the time, and it doesn't make sense to you. Maybe you think, I'm just meeting friends, this is nice, I really like these people, but it's exhausting. And then maybe you really enjoy going to university, but it's so heavy. Maybe you're in a seminar, a lecture about something you're really excited about, but still it drains the shit out of you and you don't understand. And also, with the heaviness come very low levels of energy. And they're kind of the same thing. Because of having so little energy, everything feels like a drag. And for me, oftentimes I feel that physically. Physically, my body is so heavy. And then also mentally, all of it is so heavy. You're just kind of dragging yourself around. You really need so much effort to just do things. And maybe you can do those things. Maybe you're even highly functional. But still, it just never feels quite right. It never feels fulfilling. It still feels heavy. For me, the low energy levels always meant that I really had to choose where to put my energy because I didn't have a lot of it. So during my time at university, it would have been unthinkable to have a full-time job or even just a part-time job while I was at university. So I went to university on help. So I got a credit, a student credit, and that's what I used to get through university. I did work some during my years at university, but never even close to full time. That would have been absolutely impossible. But there are people with persistent depressive disorder who pull that off. But maybe I was just, it's a spectrum as everything. Maybe I was just a little lower on the spectrum. But if you are making it work, if you're studying, if you're working, and you can pull it off, doesn't mean you don't have it. Let me be very clear about it. This is just about my experience, but it can differ and it can have different degrees for every person. And of course, my biggest advice is to please get checked out to get professional help. If you end up being just fine and maybe something physical is going on or something else, you don't lose anything by getting help. I wish I would have done it a lot sooner. It took me a second suicide attempt to get help. So, please get help. Even if you've never been suicidal, never even close, but still, you can identify with all of the other things I'm saying. Please try to talk to a therapist and see if they think that you might have it. And another thing that's very close to what I already described, you might enjoy things. Anhedonia is definitely a symptom, but it doesn't mean that you do not enjoy anything at all. You can enjoy things. You can be social. You can be excited about certain things. But at the end of the day, how long does it last? And ultimately, even in those happier moments, is there still heaviness? Because for me, yes, I could enjoy myself with friends, having something nice to eat, laughing, chatting. But when I focused on myself again, when I went into myself again, I was still not happy. I was still feeling like life is such a burden, even though there are good moments. And even in these good moments, there's a part of me left that doesn't feel right, that feels heavy, and that says, what's the point? And this lack of purpose is a big thing, this lack of meaning, of feeling like, yeah, this is kind of nice, but what's the point ultimately? So you always ask yourself, why? What's this for? What's the point? And that can be a big sign that you're kind of just going on autopilot, and there are nice things in life maybe, but at the end of the day, what's the point? And if you have a good day and then you go to bed, and every time you are by yourself, you start thinking, wasn't that great? I don't know, I just don't feel like I want to do this, but I'm still gonna do it again tomorrow because what else am I gonna do? And as I said, I kinda knew something was wrong all along. And you might feel something's not quite right, but maybe you think, but it's not that big of a deal because I'm still doing this and this and this, and I still enjoy this and this and this. And I thought this for a long time, it's not that big of a deal. I'm making a big deal out of this, like, I should just snap out of it. There's no reason for me to feel this way. You do not need a reason to feel this way. It is a big deal. It is a big deal no matter how privileged your life is, no matter how good your life is, from an objective point of view, you can still suffer from this. If you think it's not that big of a deal, it is a big deal because it affects you. It's a big deal. And also what happens to a lot of people with persistent depressive disorder is that we feel like it's just our personality. It's just our way of perceiving life. And this is a very tricky part because I got it when I was a teenager and maybe even sooner than that. So I thought this is just me. You know, I had a lot of trauma, but it also wasn't that bad. At least that's what my mind's telling me. It wasn't that bad. So, you know, no reason to feel this way, no reason to make a big deal out of it. It's just me. I'm just a very melancholic person. I'm just not a happy person. I'm just not a very optimistic person. And yeah, I do feel like my personality is melancholic, but being melancholic and being depressed are different. I know that with Freud and other psychologists and psychiatrists and especially psychoanalysis, they also pathologize it, which I think is a mistake, but that's a different video. So it's, for me, being melancholic is a personality trait. It can be a characteristic of your personality, but melancholy does not feel the way depression feels. It's not the same as persistent depressive disorder. It's just not the same. It's a different way of perceiving the world, but persistent depressive disorder, depression, works differently. So if you feel like I'm just this person who can't enjoy life, I'm just this person who can never feel quite okay, no, it's not your personality. It probably is not your personality. It's not your character. It's something that happens inside of your brain. Maybe there's an imbalance. Maybe there was trauma that's now manifesting this way. Maybe your brain learned that always feeling down is the more safe option. And this is how my therapist and I conceptualize it, that in the past, my brain just figured it would be more safe to always feel down so that I could not be let down as much, because there was so much feeling of being unsafe and uncertainty, and that's how my brain dealt with it, and now I have to deal with it. But maybe you feel like you don't even have that much trauma, so again, there's no reason for it, and there doesn't have to be. It's different for everyone. It's so multifaceted. There are so many things that can contribute to it, but none of these are obligatory. You can have had a very good life and still be depressed. So I'm just telling you, this is an option. Maybe you think back and feel like, I kind of never really felt safe. I kind of never really felt like I was in control. So your brain took control by saying, we're gonna stay down here, because if we go back up and the shit happens again, we're gonna fall real deep. So, ask yourself, do I think that this is who I am? Or is this a reaction that I have to my environment? Or also ask yourself, are there cases of mental illness, depression in your family, and maybe it just also affected you because there's a genetic, biological component to it. There are so many ways, but go really soul searching and ask yourself, is this me? Is this who I want to be? Or is this also not quite right? And maybe this feeling of everything is not quite right, maybe that's because you know that this isn't you. That's not what you want to be. That's not how you want to be. And that's enough. If it just doesn't feel right, please talk to somebody. And as I said, for me, this has been going on for a very long time. And it's also something that a lot of people with persistent depressive disorder experience, that they can't quite remember the last time they did not feel this way. I don't know. I mean, now, thanks to therapy, I sometimes do have moments that are, scratching on the positive part of the scale. And maybe I have even been at a +2, or even maybe on very, very good days on a +4 temporarily. But still, I don't know the last time I did not have persistent depressive disorder. I just don't know. So if you never really have manic episodes of really being in the positive, and you just can't remember when you've really been totally okay, that's also an indicator. And maybe you are not hopeless. Maybe you do not experience hopelessness all of the time and hating life all of the time, or just not enjoying life all of the time. Maybe you actually have a part of you that wants a good life for you, that says, I really want something out of life. I recognize that there's beauty in life and there are things that I want, but it's not working out, and you just don't have the resources. It just doesn't seem like an option for you. Maybe you have an image in your mind of things you would really like to do in the life you would really like to have, but it just doesn't seem possible because there's so little energy. There's just, you feel like your hands are tied and you just can't get there. And that's also an indicator that maybe you really want something other than this out of life, and it's just not working out. And it doesn't have to be your fault. It doesn't have to be that you're just not good enough, that you just don't have what it takes. Maybe you just have this illness that is tying your hands, and you can try to free yourself. You can free yourself. It will take a long time to heal, but it is possible. I still don't believe sometimes that it's possible for me, but I'm still here and I'm still fighting, and so can you. And now a way that it manifests in my relationships. I am very capable of having deep friendships, relationships, just bonds, connections with people, but there's always a rest of me that's not quite there. And that's not because I'm scared of commitment or I'm scared of losing somebody, of being intimate. It's that this feeling of it not feeling quite right is always there in the background. There's always one part of me that's holding back. It's like a glass wall between the person and me, and I can be incredibly open. I'm generally pretty much an open book, especially if I really like somebody. I have no problem opening up, but I can feel that there's still a little bit left. Something is in between us, this glass wall, and I can try to drill through it, and maybe I can stick my hand in, and maybe I can get there, and there's really a connection, but something is still not quite there yet. There's a part of me left that can't give itself to it because it's somewhere else, because this part isn't believing in the goodness and in things working out and in things being worthwhile and being able to really enjoy things. There's always a part of me who doesn't get it. And so if you feel like your personal relationships can be deep, but not as much as you want it to be, and you always feel like you're never quite there, a part of you is always holding back, that's also something that can point to you having depression, and maybe this form of depression. And the biggest thing is really that you just don't understand how other people do it. I don't understand how people do all of the things that they do. It's incomprehensible to me still. I don't understand how people really love life all of the time. I don't know how people wake up and want to live this day. I don't understand how people get excited this much about having so many things going on in their life that would just exhaust me to no end. And I don't understand where people get their energy from. I don't understand how they work full time and then have a social life and then sleep and then maybe meditate and then exercise. How is it possible? So if you're comparing yourself to others and you feel like you really fall short, it's not your fault. Something is keeping you from it. And that's because a big part of your energy is consumed by this. It's always working in your mind and draining you. and we have to get it out of there. We have to make it smaller and smaller and smaller, and then room for other things will open up. And I believe that we can do it. It's such a long, frustrating process, but I believe in us. And if you watch this, you're also still here. Just like I am, which I didn't think I was. I'm not satisfied with where I am. I'm disappointed in myself. But I'm still doing it. I'm still trying. And maybe I'm not spending as much time of my day trying as other people because I just can't. It's okay, we're still trying. As long as we're here and we're taking it day by day, we can do it. Please take good care of yourselves. If you have experiences to share, please do so in the comments. If you have questions, please ask them in the comments. And I care about all of you so much. I'm so proud of you. Please take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated, take your meds, and be kind to yourselves. Until next time, bye.